Hello and welcome to another user replay. This is Midshipman/slack, and today we have the pleasure of watching Commodore Asalonean sailing in the Lettre, the French premium destroyer, who, very similar to the Graspre, has a bit of an identity crisis, to say the least. More on that later, because what the Lettre is famed for is her speed. She was the fastest DD in the West when she was created, topping out at well over 40 knots. And that's what she was designed for. And Ash here is wasted no time, and at the start of the game has popped his speed boost and is tearing his way over to Sea Point. And he's even said in chat, like, I'm going to cause havoc here. Let's see if he does. Spots the enemy. He will get there first before anybody else. And yeah, of course, starts capping it. But there are aircraft in play. There's CVs in play. And I'm quite glad I actually did this replay before he gets spotted. Everybody knows he's in range. He hasn't got smoke. He's just got his speed. And so he's got 5 people shooting at him. The aircraft carrier zones in on him because his DD takes a bit of hit. Oh, takes another hit. And shows you the benefits of having that blistering quick speed and gets out of trouble. Gets behind the island, spotted by radar. Doesn't really matter because he's behind a socking great big island. But it does dictate where he is heading unless he decides to backtrack, which he doesn't. He comes steaming over towards D to try and help his fellow destroyers out who are trying to take it for him. The enemy have pushed this side very hard. There's at least 3 or 4 destroyers in there. Gardamada is in there. Gajamada. I'm not entirely certain how to sound that one out. And he's coming in. Now, what the unique ability of the Lettre is, she has a reload booster on her guns. So she tears in, spots the DD, pops his reload boost, but the guy disappears. But because he's fired, he's ballooned out and he gets a pasting from anybody with a gun pointing at him. And just about gets away with it. But, ouch, another clipping bow. And then suddenly, 2 fires. He's already burnt his damage repair. He didn't get into his friendly smoke early enough. Ow. 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 That's gotta hurt. And that demonstrates the problem with this destroyer in game. It doesn't have smoke. It only has speed, and if you can gauge it right and get lucky with fires and hits, you lose a ton of damage. So there's only 4 minutes in. He's down to just over 2,000 health, and he doesn't have smoke. And I think that starting gameplay really identifies the benefits and drawbacks of this ship. It's very situational. He had blistering quick speed to get into the cap before anybody else, and he used it to get out of the way using islands and the environment to defend him. But if you don't, and like he showed when he was trying to go into decap, you can get incredibly isolated and incredibly vulnerable, and he barely got away with any sort of health. He is now just sitting here plugging at range. The gun velocities are pretty good, so you can hit pretty consistency, a bit like the Argyle in that sense. Another very quick French destroyer, which I do actually have, and she's getting buffed in the 8.0, which I'm really looking forward to because she does need it. The torpedoes are just a bit naff, really. Anyway, that guy there was a hipper has really pushed into the cap. We've been cross-struck by the CV player, well spotted from him, and kills him. Fantastic play there from this friendly CV player, which is also changing in 8.0 when that's going to come out towards the end of the month. So he's got a bit of a choice here. He can go for the Dunkirk, keep going for D, or you can come back into B cap here. Oh, C cap, sorry. Of course it's C cap. Apologies. Ooh, Prince Friedrich does take a torpedo. Better move, my friend. Better move. Another not well-regarded premium ship. Anyway, he decides to come back towards D. And brings me back to my original point where this destroyer, in inverted brackets, has a bit of an identity crisis. She is theoretically a destroyer, but she's so big and so fast. She was called a fleet torpedo boat. And so it's like, yeah, okay, it's not quite a destroyer. And then when she was actually taken by the Allies in Operation Torch, she was actually reclassified as a light cruiser. And oh dear, Asalonean just got briefly spotted there, and that's massively unfortunate, because if those battleships, who are definitely awake because they take a pot shot at him, know where he's coming, they would expect torpedoes, and the Dunkirk is actually manoeuvring to get away from them, and has expertly done torpedo beated away. He wouldn't have been able to do that if he hadn't been briefly spotted, Asalonean. So, but he has killed his speed. But with no smoke, he has to revert back to his torpedoes. Or the third set of torpedoes. Otherwise he would be seriously in trouble. But the Dunkirk has just taken a pasting from the battleship. Ash makes a call thinking, yep, he's worth it. He's worth going for it. The Dunkirk has just fired, so he's still on reload. Come on. Come on. But a friendly DD, that Gajamaja, who was from the start, is coming in to save the Dunkirk's day. That Dunkirk just has to not fire and he would not be spotted. And sure enough, he makes the mistake of firing. But he is moving away. He's repairing the damage. Oh, he's living a charmed life. You should not have fired. You had some expert work from your friendly DD there. Oh, and he just realises his mistake and just about gets away with it. Last salvo's coming into the area. And sure enough, they just miss him. Or don't do any damage. But again, he fires his guns. He does take a kill on the Hatsuharu. So that might have been worth it. That's a good trade in this scenario. Take out a friendly DD. But with minimal health, Ash picks up his first kill. Very well done. Dives into the smoke of his friendlies to and just waits it out. But there will be torpedoes coming this way. There's a couple of DDs coming through there, but maybe not, because obviously that was the Pan-Asian with deep water. And there's the enemy, the enemy King George. And whoa, gee gods, if he's got him in this way, he is. Oh, misjudges it. But he's sailing broadside. Oh, they miss as well. Those torpedoes are looking good. He's got to hit those torpedoes. He looks to see if he can miss the island. And well done. And still just gets away with it. You are living a very charmed life, my friend. Very charmed life. Not quite to the 9 Lives standards of Games and Coffee, but still, whew, that's tough. That's pretty tough. Now at the moment the scores are pretty even. Okay, they're up on points. However, the enemy do have 3 of the caps, so they are gaining back. And there he is again. And he's pointing the wrong way. Ah, the first mistake. And with that reload boost now active, look at the health just disappearing. Come on, Ash. He only has still that Gaujamaja only has to hit you once. Gets a fire, shoots at him, takes a hit, but just survives on minimal health. And that has cleared up the enemy over in D point. So that advantage which the enemy actually had has now been lost and has been taken away from him. Well played, well executed, knowledge of your ship, knowledge of when you should and shouldn't use your consumables. Fantastic, well done. But it's not over yet. There's still plenty of game left. He's only got 3 kills. And it demonstrates how best to use this ship in other ways. So, the Le Terrible did actually survive the war and was brought into French service because she was actually refitted in 1943 in Boston, America. So she was actually quite a modern destroyer by the end of the war and was taken into French service, where under NATO rules she was called a swift escort. So yeah, is this a DD? I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. But anyway, he decides to come on over around here to help the Nagato out. And there's a Geisenhower. You don't really must say the Geisenhower is a brilliant brawling battleship. He has fired his torpedoes, and Nagato has taken a hit on that, on at least one of them. But it's still pretty close. He could have taken more. He's turning the Geisenhower is turning around to set his second set of torpedoes, and well, what can I say? Broadside on. Does reload booster, and look at the damage output. But still, there is secondaries there. The Geisenhower does have a few secondaries. Fast torpedoes. Those are torpedoes against Nagato, and yes, dead. Unsurprising. He makes the wise decision of trying to turn as far as possible round to try and help the gun traverse. But those torpedoes are incoming, and excellent. Before they could turn and fire, Ash picks up his 4th kill, using the speed to pretty much do the coup de grace against that Geisenhower player. Why 2 battleships were down here anyway is beyond me. I've no idea why. So, there's only 3 targets left. This game is done, but it's not quite done yet for Ash. He is going after that CV, who's just ahead of him. I've skipped ahead here because, you know, he's just moving forward. So he's got to go for him. The Independence player is pretty damn good. He was the one that gave the opening salvo against Ash with his torpedo bombers, which was very well done, picking the correct target. And but with that reload booster, well, he hasn't actually got any reload boosters yet left. He's used them all, so it's just pure gun. Sends a set of torpedoes, ball of skill, but you know, at this time, end of the game, you never know. Come on, but the Indy is doing the correct thing and turning away from them. Come on. More. Oh, I wonder where that Cossack is. And the Chapayev. I wonder if they're going to actually help their CV player out. It's clear that he hasn't got the consumables for repairing, sending aeroplanes up, but we never know. He might be out of aeroplanes by now. The Independence doesn't actually carry that many in great numbers. It's one of the drawbacks of her. Quite powerful strike, but if you lose a few aircraft, and he's certainly lower tier in this sense, yeah, he's likely to have none left. Those torpedoes looking good, and yes, well played Indy player. Missing them all, torpedo beating out of them. So it's just dust down to the guns. There's the coup de grace fire. Come on, Ash. He doesn't even look. Bringing up his Kraken. Sure enough, CV player does send his bombers over. Are they going to attack? He obviously did an auto drop against him, so that's why they can drop without actually dying. With the CV rework changing, that won't actually happen. I think you just lose control of your own strike force. I'm actually really looking forward, as a side note, I'm actually really looking forward to the CV rework. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic for the game, because it will probably bring in more players from World of Warplanes, and more players is only a good thing for the game in my eyes. But he has been detected by those aircraft, so that Cossack knows exactly where he is, and he hasn't got smoke and very low health, so that Cossack does hold the advantage here. Because the Le Terrible is such a big destroyer, he's going to be outspotted by the Cossack, so the Cossack will get the first shot in, if indeed he is going for Ash here. So Ash has sent a selective set of torpedoes out. He's looking at the mini-map and where the last known location is. He keeps one set of torpedoes in reserve, and there he has it. It has been spotted. That Cossack hasn't fired yet. He knows it. There he is. There's incoming fire. Can he avoid it? No. Ouch. Ouch. But wow. What a game. I didn't get the results screen, but we'll bring up the top corner into the center of the map. Over 100,000 damage. Kraken. Great torpedo strikes. Using the beauty and the drawbacks of the Terrible. Well, what a great game, and thank you so much for sending it in. I've been VIII. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll continue to make these. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one. Goodbye.